Welcome back to another episode of our HitFilm Basics Masterclass. If you missed the other videos on how to install HitFilm and get up and running with editing video, you can find those in the card on screen. In this tutorial, we're going to show you how to add text inside of HitFilm. It's pretty easy to do, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Here we are inside of HitFilm, and we have a stock video of this woman running through the field. We're going to add some text onto this. So what I'll do is come up to this A icon in the viewer, which stands for text, select it, and then either click and drag or just click depending on what kind of text I want. If it's a single line of text, you're probably better off just clicking because it will create a point text. The benefit of using point text is that it can be easier to position in the frame, and it also grows with the amount of text. So if I come in here and just click near the center of the frame, it doesn't have to be exact, but then I can type something like a short name like Josh Davies, come over to the text panel and center it. Then if I go to the controls and go to transform, I can zero out the position and know that this text is exactly in the center of the frame. Another benefit is if the text gets too long, it grows to fit the available text. If you're using a paragraph, it might get cut off by the text box, and we'll see that happen later. If I click and drag, it'll create a paragraph, which has a text box. When I let go, it will be created, and you can see the text layer down here on the timeline, and then I can start typing.
The Fitness Gram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test.
I don't really want it to go edge to edge, so I'll come down here to the bottom right, and there's a small box, which I can shrink down. Then I'll come up and choose the selection tool and move the text to where I want it to be. You can customize the way the text looks using the text panel. Come over down to the left here, and if you don't see it, you might be on the media panel, and you just need to click this right arrow here to get to text. Here I can change things that are very similar to a word processing program, so things like the font, if I can choose something like Lato, which looks a bit nicer, and then I can increase the size as well, and maybe resize it, reposition it here. If the font has the option, I can also choose different faces for it. This number here is how much of an outline that the text has, so I'll just increase that a bit until you can see it, and then we can change the color as well. This doesn't look great, but I'm trying to demonstrate all of the features, so just bear with me. Because there are multiple lines inside of this text layer, we have the option to change a couple of paragraph options. So the line spacing like this, or how far apart the letters are. We can also change the vertical and horizontal scale of the text. And we have a couple of options down here to quickly convert the text to something like all caps, or all lowercase, or title case as well. If you notice that your text is getting cut off because you've adjusted some of these settings, come back up and select the text tool, and then drag the text box until it fits. Down here I can also center align the text, and because there are multiple lines, I can also vertically align it, or align it to the bottom. The text inside of HitFilm is super customizable, so you can create things like lower thirds, which are the name tags at the bottom, or full-on cinematic titles. We won't be touching on that in this tutorial because it requires a few more advanced topics like animation, keyframing, and using effects inside of composite shots. But we will take a look at that area in a future episode, so stay tuned. But I did want to let you know that HitFilm ships with a couple of pre-made templates. You can find them over here on the left inside of the media panel. If I click templates, you can see a box pop up that shows me the available templates to use. In this case, I'll select transparent box and then choose import. This will import it into the media panel, which I can then click and drag onto the timeline. It's not in the right spot. I want it to be over here on her right side. So what I'll do is bring it over here using the viewer controls, and then I can resize it inside of the controls panel. Obviously that name isn't quite right. So what I'll do is come over and select edit title. I can then type. Next, I'll choose Edit Subtitle and type something in there. Now if I play it back, you'll see the animation applied with the new name and subtitle. Depending on the lower third, you might also have a couple of additional options. So in this case, I could change the color here and make it something that doesn't look great, or adjust the scale if the box is now too big. That's it for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. In the next tutorial, we'll show you how to edit audio inside of HitFilm. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video.